the resurrection,
Yeah, you
the
talk about
death and
that.
resurrection of the Mashiach. But and I mentioned in there how the scribes and the Pharisees they denied them as the Messiah and all of that. They didn't believe his Messiah. So what that ruach that's on the earth now is really, when you think about it, that is the ruach of the anti-Messiah that is happening to these people. This is what they're operating in. So to go against the same Mashiach never came or didn't exist or any such thing like that is the ruach of the anti-Messiah. And
Hmm.
I yield.
Anybody else have a have an opposing view to that? Uh, I see the professor is here with us, Professor Obadiah.
Shalom, shalom. I would just again, my issue just told me that we were on tonight, so my apologies. I didn't get a chance to delve into it, but
You in the
I
men's
do
chat group?
I do remember. Yeah, I am, but I don't be on the phone all day. I mean, I be on the phone, but I don't be on the phone like that.
Man, we don't be listen, we don't be on stop it, Obadiah. We don't be on the phone all day. That group gonna be pinging, pinging, pinging.
Yeah. So, but uh, you know, Dr. Howard in his last teaching, he hit on that, which was, it wasn't his life wasn't taken, he wasn't murdered.
No.
Uh, he offered, you know, he uh he offered his life. So yeah, that's a lot different,
Yeah.
than than someone taking one's life, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is. I had to realize that too. Like, and then, you know, we're gonna get into some Bible right now. I just trying to put it. That's wow, where did these go? That's something a lot of people don't look at. Like, it's something, did he was he murdered, and then understanding the Brit the new covenant and and the commandment that says thou shalt not murder, and that's why you gotta murder and kill is two different things. To murder someone is to take somebody's life, whether in a robbery, intentionally, like you sought to kill this, murder this person, that's murder. But when you kill, I could kill someone in a car by accident. I could kill someone in self-defense. I could kill someone for doing harm to my family. That's not murder. That's why it's more specific to murder. Don't take somebody's life without a, I would say, reasonable cause. If I just walk up to someone and kill him because I feel like doing it, no, you murder someone. And the word says in Acts, you kill someone, you should be killed. Eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. Go ahead, Ed.
One of the things I'm observing is some of our brothers that don't believe in the Mashiach. Some of the schools they come out of, usually they're just going along with what the elders taught, right? And they're not really breaking away from that and doing their own research. Like one of the school that Zion Lex came out of. I used to listen to some of their teachings just to get a little, understanding on certain things about the Torah, because that's all they read, right? But they always run into a brick wall when it comes to sin. So they don't really, like, how do you atone? They don't really address atonement, right? They run into a brick wall. And then there's this thing where, because of the Romans, and they feel that everything is a Roman invention, because of all the whitewashing, right? And because though they read the Torah a lot, they never learned the Messiah from the Hebraic perspective. So though they read the Torah, they speak Hebrew, or what they call Hebrew. They still have a Western mindset of. They think we have a Western mindset of how we see the Messiah, and they do as well. So they a lot of times never even learn the Messiah from a Hebraic point of view, and then some of them kind of play the fence, but they don't want to break away from the congregation, so they remain silent. And with that, I yield.
But Zion Leg's position on that has changed now.
He changed because of Well, his Hebrew name is Divine Prospect, but he's the one who Ron Shields. Ron Shields got him to change because early on, you're right. Early on, that was Lex's position,
Right.
and then he and Ron Shields had a debate, and Lex shut him down because Ron didn't know Hebrew well. So Ron spent the next year learning Hebrew, and then he came back and they had a conversation, and he was able to show him using Hebrew how the how Yahusha was present in the Tanakh in the original covenant
Yeah.
and the Tanakh.
Awesome. Mario Ma.
I think one of the other things about that is that they overlook or intentionally ignore to say Mashiach didn't come is that the Torah has the dietary law, ceremonial law, moral law, and it has the sacrificial law. The sacrificial law has a requirement, and it's required. It's part of the Torah. So, and we know those sacrifices for atonement and things like that was part of the sacrificial law. It has a requirement, right? A reconciliation to bring us back to Him by sacrifice. So, if Mashiach never came, if He isn't real, or whatever the case may be, how are they fulfilling the requirement of the sacrificial law? Because that's part of the Torah, and the requirement has to be fulfilled. So no one who has been, I never met anyone that is anti Mashiach, as I say, been able to effectively show me where the requirement of that portion of the Torah is being fulfilled, because it's a requirement. You can't just ignore it. Just like the dietary law, just like the moral and the ceremony, those are requirements that need to be fulfilled. So if Yahusha didn't come, then who fulfilled the requirement, whereas we no longer have to do sacrifices because it's required? A sacrifice is required to fulfill that portion of the Torah. And I yield.
Most of the the common theme is that, but that let me not say common. What I've heard is that they could go to the Yahuwah themselves. They don't answer that question. Nobody has answered that question, because at the end of the day, to them, it's just what they call it. What's the word? What's the word? It's just a fallacy, I would say, and that no man could die for your sin. But we're going to touch on some scripts and get to see that. And this is something I read today in Exodus 23:24. We've been making blood covenants from the beginning. And we're technically, not technically, we are under blood covenant right now. So that's why we don't have to go before him. Yahusha laid down his blood to redeem us back to the Most High. That's a blood covenant, and it still stands. And that's why we don't have to do those goats and everything no more. So, I'm just like, I try in my brain to look and think like them, but I just can't see it. Kakum, and we could pull up some scripts. If you all have any scripts you all want.
Yeah. So I can't speak to anyone else's presuppositions on, why they um would question or, doubt Hamashiach. For me, that's what I could speak to. For me, um, and this is just based on my life experience in this walk. Um, it's immaterial to me. And when one asks, well, what would you do? And doesn't it have to be done? Well, yeah, after 70 years, and that's just meaning a dispensation of time. Because in the condition that we find ourselves in, it's already evident that was taken away. That wasn't part of what to do when you find yourself in land of captivity. And so for me, I'm stuck in what it is I'm supposed to be doing. And so it doesn't matter what anyone in whatever role they have or don't have has done, will do. Um, like me focusing on their role is not going to help me perfect myself in mine. And so I'm just seeking to do the best that I can as a cocoon that I was called to be. And may his example that I could read about and experience, and thus say yes, do that. Be that much more, worthy, to be included as the glory and praise of Abba Yahuwah. That's how, yeah, like I'm with needing leadership, and that's what I see. Hamashiach as is the guide, the way, not the way in belief, but the way in action, because that's what Torah has always been about. To hear, O Israel, to hear isn't to internalize a thing, is to move to action based on your comprehension of the instruction that you heard. And yeah, that's I'm all about it, all about it. Let's go get them, go team. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So one of the when we look at the beginning, if we start from the beginning, right? And I know we're all still learning Hebrew. So we're reading it from the English standpoint, and we can do our best to get the Hebraic understanding of it because the Bible is full of deep coded messages. When you and I'm getting, and there's one other thing I wanted us to, I could probably do an understand of how we that study. So one of the is Genesis 3:15. Y'all can see the side of the screen, right? Y'all can see both screens. Where it is. Let me know
Yes,
if I
time,
need.
time. Yes, we can.
All right. So if you look at that now, one of the things I'm telling you, I have heard it all when it comes to um 3:15. And it says, I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. He will bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. Now, many like myself look at it like, all right, he's talking about the coming Messiah that will defeat or crush Satan, and also about the woman in Revelation who bringing forth a child and who the enemy was trying to crush and kill. But there is a passage in this whole thing that people use to justify and um, 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 what's the passage? I'm trying to remember the word. Is it enmity? All right, meaning to be hostile. Um, so let me give you one of the theories I've heard by people interpreting this verse is to say that this is not talking about the Messiah, that this is talking about what it is. Um, seed is the word. I think it's seed. I think that's Andre Collins. Someone got to answer him. That's Andre. So, what? Scatter. So, all right. So I'm trying to remember. So one of the theories I've heard is that this is not talking about Yahusha. This is talking about what is the thing that I heard? Something else. Someone could answer that and just tell them we on the call now. Um,
I guess I could see it as seed of Israel.
right. So because when you look at it, it means to scatter, to be sown, to throw, right? So but what they said to me wasn't what it wasn't speaking to it. So in reference, and then when you look at where is it? Go back up. Let's do a cross reference and what speaks to verses that correlate with what they say in the seed, the woman, and it shall bruise thy head, and it shall bruise thy heel. And it shall bruise thy head, and she shall bruise thy heel. This has been debated or talked about that it's not necessarily talking about the woman's seed, but it's talking about a seed, not actual seed as in seed. It's talking about seed that you throw on the ground or plant. And I'm like, I'm just metaphorically speaking, you know? So that's one of the things that I first heard that it's not necessarily talking about the coming Messiah, right? So and that's why I say I know we gonna get this Hebrew down, Bachman need to be able to interpret it um deep. But one thing like Dr. Howard is saying is something I learned is when you look at context. So the whole context of after the accusation is made, if you say talk about the man and the woman, and then Yahuwah then say, and then the Yahuwah now is talking to the serpent, right? Or we know as Hasatan. And let me ask you all something. When y'all was growing up, didn't they had in the Bible that Eve ate of a fruit of the tree? Didn't some Bibles say either it was an apple or it was a fruit?
I think most of them say fruit. I think tradition said it was an apple.
Right. And so when I go and look through some of these Bibles, I say, well, I can't find this now, right? So when we look at that, but if you look at the whole context of this verse, this is now, and I know there are some other parts I gotta talk when it comes to the Hebrew grammar, and understanding the uh, when someone is speaking in the term to cause something to happen, or when someone the Hebrew, the Nifal and the Pa'il, speaking in the term in which is to make something happen. So when you read this is speaking in a term in which he's going to cause, make something happen to him. All right. And then he goes on to the next month. So you see, yeah, this is a message that's directed to the serpent and saying, this is what is going to be happening to you. All right. Because of what you did. And it means your offspring. All right. And looking at it within itself, then you look at even though it's say offspring, Hasid, Nasid is talking about two different forms of life or beings, and which would mean now, when people don't understand that Hasatan's bloodline is still here on the earth, and they know who they are, the people that will never be redeemed. I watch a video where a guy say he have Nephilim DNA on it in him, and he is under the blood of Mashiach now. He's like, oh boy. Anyway, I think there may be some hope, but BLC, I got to read that. So this is just one of the things. So also, when you look to the right, if you see all these different passages that is brought up, the scepter shall not leave from the path from Judah. This was the beginning prophecy. No, all right. Now the question is the scepter still in Judah? Well, according to the word, yes, it is, because Mashiach is he's the leader, the leader of the tribe of Judah, the head of it. All right, a prophet like unto Moses. And if we go to there now, what makes that significant? Let me ask you, why did he reference say he gonna be a prophet like that unto Moses? But I want to go to a trap before we go to there. Why do y'all think he said that? And this, everybody can open your leave your mics open. He ain't coming like I could just be talking. This is an open discussion. I just brought up some verses for us to see. I'll tell you. Let me get my drink first. The reason why I said that is because his communication, his interaction with Moses was word of mouth. He didn't see the physical presence of the Most High, but he saw enough that his body was illuminated, and he, how should I put it? When we look at the passage of Moses' life, Moses almost had to, he bared, when you read it him, he got angry, he got upset at them. That means he was actually allowing the things that they was doing he was taking them on, I guess he was the Messiah. And that wasn't what Mashiach, Yahuwah had said, call him to do. Any other thoughts? It is Genesis. Any other thoughts? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, you got Moses, deliverer, Yahusha, deliverer. I think Moshe was fasting. Wasn't he on the mountain 40 days, 40 nights?
Yeah.
Yahusha fasted. Both got turned against by the people or not listened to, or dealt with stiff-necked group of people. I mean, there's a lot of parallels, but it was like what Yahusha did was like, I don't know, the kind of where Moses had some shortcomings, Yahusha didn't have them shortcomings. Like how they say he's the second Adam, right? He fixed what Adam kind of broke. If he says I raised up a prophet like me, and then I look at it too, was he fully talking about Yahusha's the first time he came, or was he also talking about the return? Both of them lives was threatened as an infant. Both of them wound up in Egypt in their youth, right? Both of them, you don't hear much about either one of their the quote unquote fathers that raised them. Well, Moses didn't get raised by his dad, so we don't really hear much about Joseph or Yosef when it came to Yahusha. There was rulers of world empires that threatened their lives, right? Or the government was threatening their life. There's a lot of parallels, right? But most importantly, hey, like you said, they both had a connection with the Most High, like more personal than pretty much anybody else, if that makes sense.
All right. Good point. Good point. Anybody else? I'm trying to find a very important point in all of this story that we have to look at. I think it's Genesis 18.
For clarity, I apologize for me coming in late. I'm trying to adjust with new things and what have you. What is the question on the floor, or the parallel between Yahusha and Moshe?
No, yeah. So we're discussing tonight, Zakane, if Yahusha is the Mashiach.
Okay.
All right. And the question on the floor is why the comparison made between Yahusha and Moshe.
Oh. The bond of the covenant is one of them.
Mm-hmm. Say, yeah, deliverer of the people. When you look at that, deliverer of the people. That's a good point. Ed made some good points. Shalom, Scott. Hope all is well. I can turn on your cameras now. Don't be afraid. and we gonna have a freelance open discussion. They're saying no, me leading the way. Let's bring it out because I think the question I needs to be asked is, all in here believe that Yahusha is the Mashiach? That's the topic of night. Do you believe that Yahusha is the Mashiach, the anointed, the chosen one sent by Yahuwah to the nation to redeem the nation of Israel?
I do.
Let me second that. I do.
I do too, because I mean, the prophets uh prophesied about the one to come.
Uh,
All
So
right. So all y'all real boring. So I'm gonna make this interesting then.
Okay, Mister Fun Times, come on in.
I'm just because and before you came in, Zakim, we were part of the conversation dwelt around Torah only that said Yahushua Mashiach hasn't come yet. So when we look at I guess what would be the last book of the original covenant, Malachi,
uh-huh.
um, he says specifically, and I'll start at 4:4 and 3.
What? Hold on. Let me pull it up too. What it is?
Oh, okay. Malachi fourth. So I take it that for them, that's the last writing. So the uh, fourth chapter, and oh, it's not that many, but it's only 6 verses.
Uh-huh.
But it says the great day of Yahuwah, right?
Which
Uh,
version you using? You using the KJV? Let me go there.
yeah, I'm in KJV, but I can jump over to
Oh, no,
each
no. We gonna
verse.
stick with that one. We gonna use that one for
Yeah, I
now.
have the KJV plus because it has the
I don't think this one of the KJV plus.
it has we can look at the other words, Strong's.
Oh, you know what? Okay,
In
keep
the
reading. Let me get this other one. I
Yeah.
know what you got. Keep reading it.
So it says, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, ye and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. Kind of reads like Revelation at this point. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Yahuwah of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness, sorry about that, rise. Okay, so but unto you that fear my name shall the Son, and that's S-U-N, Shemash, from an unused root meaning to be brilliant, the Sun, by implication, E, a ray that is architecturally um, notched. I'm sorry, one second.
All right. Whilst he look for that, let me go back to this one here. Anybody know what chapter? Could tell me the chapter. I'm looking for the passage when the Mosai made the covenant with Abraham. Is it 12:17? Go ahead, Obadiah, whenever you're ready.
I'm sorry. Um, one of my great aunts just passed away.
My condolences.
Yeah, yeah, deepest sympathy.
Condolences.
Yeah. Um, but anyway, what I was saying is that this portion reads similar to, Revelation. And it says, but unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. 43, verse 3. And you shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, saith Yahuwah of hosts. Remember ye the law of Moses, my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel with the statutes and judgments. And then this is the part that I think that they might find troubling. For it says, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Yahuwah. And then 6, and he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. So if I'm Torah only, am I looking for Elijah to come again?
I think the question would be the reference point will be, um, is Elijah likened to Moshe? Some may say yes because of the experience of Elijah, but seeing the things and experiencing the thing. But Elijah, he was a prophet unto the nations. He was in the leader of the nation.
Um, I know that you all were talking about the law,
Uh-huh.
and I see that Moshe, it says in 4:4, remember the law of Moses.
Exactly. Which I commanded to him in Horeb for all Israel, even statutes and ordinances. So, in other words, remember these things. What I say now is now. What this could be talking to is about could be, the debate out there is it actually two prophets, or is it two nations of people, or two tribes of Judah? Because it said, "Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the great day and terrible day of Yahuwah." And remember, in Revelation, it tells you two prophets will come. So I think this is reference. Let me see something to that. That could be a reference to that if we look at that.
That was Yukonan the Immerser, I thought, because Yahusha even said that he was Elijah.
Well, Malachi correlating verses Matthew 11, Matthew 17. So I think you're referring to Matthew chapter 11, when it says, "For all the prophets and the Lord prophesied until Yehochanan."
It was another one where Yahusha said that Yehochanan was Elijah.
So, in reference to that, now we know that that's not speaking about the actual person, but it's talking about someone who's likened unto the prophet before because of the attribute and the skills that he possessed. The same thing like how some people interpret as some people expecting David to come back and not Yahusha.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right. Yep.
that's it. All right. So that these verses here talk about for all the prophets and the Lord prophesies until Yehochanan. All right. But here's the thing: we know all the prophecy has been fulfilled. And then in Matthew would say, if you are willing to receive it, this is Elijah who has come. So was he talking about the works, the skills, and how Yahusha came in that form, the way to now? But I think when we read that which you just read, the key thing in that is talking about but shall send you Elijah the prophet before the great and terrible day of Yahuwah. But we know the great and terrible day of Yahuwah is coming when?
At the end.
At the end.
Right. And
right?
so I when I always looked at that particular scripture in Malachi because it's one of my favorites, it's looking at a very broad prophetic
Mm-hmm.
view. It's looking at Yehukanan coming before Hamashiach, preaching repentance in the kingdom, and then it's jumping way over to the second coming of Yahusha.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, it's a very big jump. That's the prophets.
Uh,
Very big jump. Yeah.
but see, that's why if you look to the right, when we look at it, it kind of give you, and it's way more chapters than this.
Mm.
The prophecy in Torah, the Tanakh witnesses, and the fulfillment. Now, I want to jump to this. This is the thing that stood out to me, and I heard when I went to Detroit, and this guy began to talk about this, and we missed this. And I hope I'll be able to let you all see it. So we're gonna read from verse 1, and I'm gonna read it everything for you all to understand. Number one, why Yahuwah, somebody had to be sacrificed. So it says, after these things, and I like to read from the beginning so we establish a chronological order. After these things, the word, I gotta find out this word. An elder showed me that this word here is Yahusha. He showed me it's somewhere in Psalms, I was like, man, you gotta. So, in other words, which means to speak, right? So, was it a projected voice from the Shamahim, an internalized voice, or they hearing the audible voice of the Mosai? Because we see the word, and then every time we see this, in most cases, it's referencing a vocal exchange between Yahuwah and something. So let's read. After these things, the word came to Yahuwah to Abraham in a vision, all right, saying, don't be afraid, Abraham. I am your shield and your exceedingly great reward. Abraham said, Yahuwah, what will you give me, seeing I go childless, and he will not inherit my estate? Eliezer of Damascus. And Abraham, behold, he said, I'll give unto you, behold, to me you have given no seed, and behold, one born in my house is my heir. Behold, the word of you came, saying, this man will not be your heir, but he will come forth out of your body, will be your heir. Then you brought him outside and said, look toward the sky and count the stars. If you are able to count them, he said, so shall your seed be. He believed in Yahuwah, and he reckoned unto him in righteousness. He said, I am Yahuwah who brought you out of of Kadashin, to give you this land to inherit. He said, Yahuwah, who will know which will I inherit? So I'm reading all this to give you all an understanding of all this. All this here is also talking about the Messiah and where he will end up. He said, take him and heifer. Now, this is the key part here. We pick up from here. He said, take him and heifer, 3 years old, a female goat, 3 years old, and a ram, 3 years old, and turtle doves and a young pigeon. He took them all and divided them in the middle and laid each half opposite of the other. So he cut the animals, spread them open, and he laid them half against opposite each other. The birds of prey came down on the carcasses, and Abraham drove them away. Now, this is the prophetic, and it says, when the sun was going down, a sleep fell on Abraham. Now terror and a great darkness fell on him. He said to him, know for sure that your seed will live as foreigners in a land that is not their own and will serve them. They will afflict you 400 years. Now, here's the thing. If we read the text right, all of this is what he's experiencing in a vision. If I'm correct. Right? And then in this vision, all right, if I'm reading this correct, all right, and then he I'm guessing somewhere, yeah, he might have woken up, or this is still the vision. Because now we see it says a deep sleep fell upon Abraham. Now a great terror of darkness fell upon him. Okay, did he wake up, or was this still a vision? When we read it in context, the Sahaba. Let me tell her this man night only tonight. Ahava Yara.
Don't a vision usually entails uh, you not being asleep, like you're seeing something that no one else can see?
Uh-huh.
So I'm thinking that he was seeing something that no one else could see, sort of like um,
Insight, spiritual insight. He was Ra'ayin. He saw.
right.
Ahava. Aha. Ahava. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Tonight is only for the men. We love you, but we are sorry.
Okay.
All right. I think Yanira starting one with y'all too on, I think it's Sunday for y'all.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Shalom.
When
Shalom.
Kadash get a little older, he'll come join us.
Okay.
All right. Call your boy, tell him come on.
Okay.
All right. You're right, Zakin. You're right. That's the point. And me who saw vision could see that. So let me show a word right there so y'all could see that. So when the Bible reference vision, oh, that's a different word. Let me see, it gives you the primitive root. Can y'all hear this?
Strong's H 4236.
Yep.
Machazeh.
Machazeh.
Mahazeh. So this sin.
Strong's H 2372. Chazah. Chazah.
All right. So is my wrong? Ra'ah is to see. Hazah is, it's still the same word. Chazah, Hazah. Okay. So you see, in some cases, root means to gaze mentally and perceive, contemplate with pleasure. So, all right. To see, behold, and this the three-letter root. Let me see. Let me get one book. One book I recommend y'all get too. This book here, it will help you understand. Do you see when you see they have the three-letter roots up here? A Hebrew etymology book. That's what I use to get a lot of my three-letter roots, and I'm still learning the Kaf. I didn't know the Zion and the Hey. How do you pronounce that?
Strong's H 2372. Chazah.
Well, I tell you,
Chazah.
I would have never pronounced that like that. That's the Kaf, the Zion, and the Hey. Look how they spell it. It's pronounced like this, Hazah, but it's spelled. Why do you? Oh, that's a hat.
Check.
All right, chat. How do you pronounce it? Chat.
I
Some say chat, some say hat. So why do you use a H there? Well, listen. Oh, patak. I see. I just look at the patak. So that patak sound underneath there, that makes that long. what you call it sound? Ah, sound. So that's kaza. That's why there. All right. So, and that means to see, to perceive, to see and behold. So, all right, he was looking at something. He might have had one of those visions that paused him in his tracks. All
Mm.
right. So, where I stop. So, like I say, he divided all these things down the middle. Now, pay attention. He cut, as the Most High tell him, cut these things, put them in the middle. The birds came down, the sun was going down, and he said, "Know for surely that your seed will be live as foreigners in a land that is not theirs, and will serve them and will afflict them 400 years. Um, I will also judge the nation whom them they will serve. Afterward, they will come out of great substance." This is the crazy thing. Like Yahuwah did, like it's like Yah is doing what he want to do because he have laws that slavery, like you can't take a man and just sell him like that. That's written in the book of Exodus. All right. But you will go to your fathers in an old age, in the fourth generation. Here they will come again to Amorai. So I want to get into this. All right, is the next part. Say, it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a flaming torch passed between these pieces. In that day, Yahuwah made a covenant with Abraham, saying, "To your seed have I given this land from the river of Mitzrayim to the great river of Paran." Now, if you read this, that should tell you that where Israel is now, the nation that they call Israel, is not truly the full land of Israel. Because if this, according to Egypt is where? Further west, is that west, southwest, northwest of Israel, where it is today. So then that means that shows that the land of Israel is way bigger than what they had said and claimed it to be. Now, here's the thing. I want us to look at this. Yahuwah told him to cut the animals in half. This points to Mashiach. Yahuwah and it, when we look at the covenant, whenever there's a covenant, now this was a blood covenant now. Whenever there's a covenant made, right, or atoned for, somebody has to die. In Israel case, it would always the animals. All right. And when we look at who walked and made this covenant with the nation, it says we saw let's go to that. And it came to pass when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp. Abraham didn't walk through it. So who was this?
A theophany.
No. So before we look at this word, who was this? So Abraham didn't walk through this. And it was a reason why. And it says Yahuwah made a covenant with him. All right. Now let me take a look in my, hold on. So it's just referencing it as fire. Child, fire. All right. To shine, to fire. So in other words, fire. Now, here is on a smoking pot. It's almost saying the same thing. If why? Yes, It's 399 lapid, same word, burning furnace. This is, so let's look at that. It's it's almost, this is crazy. So we got to look at the 3-letter root for this. So it's almost like the, man, am I looking at this right? I just want to make sure, right? A smoking furnace and a burning lamp. Am I reading the same thing? Is this showing us the same word in this case? Fire. I'm going to have to look at this. Signifying fire. Huh. You see that? Burning, fiery fire, flaming what? So if let me do it again. So behold, a smoking furnace, smoke. Always try to get that primitive root, the smoke. So smoke, and because it a smoking first, so then we look at it, smoke ought to be wrath. So, and then if you go back to that word would come out, a smoking furnace, and if it's saying that from a primitive root to C511 till to shine from an unused root. See again, 5216, 5214. Take me right back to 5216. A lamp. Near, also used from under primitive root. To glisten, a lamp. Eyes, a burner, figuratively, a lamp light, a lamp. So burning lamp, I'm right. It's the same word for that. So it boils down to that with a lamp with fire, like they said. All right. So basically, behold, a smoking furnace. So basically, this word, these two words, a smoking furnace, mean a lamp with fire or fire, and a burning is the same thing. Once again, fire, burning fire. It's the same thing. Torch. It's the same thing. Fire. A lamp with fire, a torch with fire. So, right? So, in other words, that was the presence of the Most High that went through these things and made a covenant with Abraham. Now, here's the thing. Let's go to Mount. Let's keep that in mind now. Yahuwah, in other words, so Yahuwah walked through this thing himself. He didn't allow Abraham to walk through. All right? And when we understand the biblical text, why do you think he didn't allow Abraham to walk through that? Now, he made a blood covenant now. And from what we know, the only way a blood covenant could be broken was by what? And y'all can open up your mics now. You gotta mute them. We gotta chat it up. Because next week somebody else can do it. It ain't gonna be my turn.
The question was, what is the purpose of a blood? No, how can a covenant be? What was the question again,
How
Mark?
could a blood covenant be broken? I mean, what would happen if a blood covenant was broken?
Oh, the same thing that happened to the beasts or whatever the sacrifices. They would be torn like the animals.
Somebody had to die.
Yes.
Somebody had to die if a covenant was broken. So keep in mind now, the covenant was made with Abraham. And for when we look at this now, I'm getting to a point. A covenant was made with Abraham after the Mosai said, I gonna make you the father. Let me go back to that. He said, look throughout the sky. And he said, if you're able to come to me, he said, so shall your seed be. All right. That means he tell him he's gonna make him the father of many. That's how he gonna make his seed. And then he made a covenant with him, and he walked through the covenant. And we know that in order for a covenant to be broken, somebody has to die. Now keep in mind, Abraham did not walk through that. So he himself didn't became the bearer of this blood. He partook in the covenant, but he wasn't the one to bear all the weight of this covenant. All right. And I'm going to show you all that. If we go to Sinai is what? Exodus what? 18, 19?
Okay. Let's see.
I think it's Exodus. No, 19 or. Yes. So I want us to look at this. Keep in mind what I just said. So I want us to let me type up something now. So anybody have any other thoughts? Any other things they want to share? So just reflecting, and this is where we're building here now. So we understand that the covenant was made with Abraham. The Most High promised he's going to help give him an offspring, make his children as many as the sky. We see a burning furnace, and we see basically the fire or the presence of the Most High walk through that. We use through these animals that he sacrificed and split open. He walked through it, and he made a covenant with him. And he tell him, you're going to get all this land, and your seed could be this. Let me go back to that just so we could get. All right, and we can go to let's go to the next chapter. All right, and I want to go to the part. So he promised him all those things. Sarah got in the way and gave him everything. Where it is. Sarah was trying to fulfill the covenant herself.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. All right. What chapter this is? 14. Let's go. All right. I bypass it. Let's go. Next one. We go all with righteousness. All right. Next part. So I was looking for the part where Sarah laughed and the Most High said, what verse is that? I think it's 12. All right, yeah,
This is 1812.
All right, yeah, 16.
1812 through 15.
So, all right, we're going to read this part here. See where it says, when Abraham was 99 years old, Yahuwah appeared unto him to say, I am El Shaddai, walk before me and be blameless. All right, and I'll make a covenant with you. And Abraham fell on his face, as for me, and says, my covenant will be with you and will be the father of a multitude of nations. Remember now, the covenant, he already made the blood covenant, he already made a blood covenant with him and promised he gonna be the stars of this. All right. And we're coming back from the part of the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent. And it said, neither will your name be called Abraham, but Abraham, you know that I'm making you exceedingly fruitful. I'll make kings come of you. I'll establish my covenant between you and your seed after you throughout their generations. It's an everlasting covenant. All right. Never to be broken, to be your allure unto your seed after you. And I'll give after you see the land. This is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you and after your seed. You shall circumcise in your flesh. All right. Who is 8 days old, circumcised among every male throughout your generations. Now, this is the part that I always say to people too that we miss. When he said to circumcise, he said, circumcise everybody who's 8 days old. He who was born in your house or bought with money from any foreigner who is not of your seed. So let's make sure we're talking about the right foreigner here now. All right. So the Nakar. Now, when you know about the Nakar is the one who they don't follow all our ways. All right. But they just walk with us. All right. So in other words, that could be a hired servant, a slave, someone who working for him, but not someone who following your ways. But when you was, but even though the Most High said to him in this instance, listen, anyone you bought with money from any foreigner who's not of your seed, who is born in your house, and he who is bought with money must be circumcised. My covenant will be in your flesh for everlasting covenant. And the male who is not shall be cut off. Now, what I wanted to point out here is, isn't that a grafted in? And we look at that. Isn't that talking about being grafted in?
Yep. They got joined into the covenant. Yeah,
right.
Same principle.
Right. And if you go look it up, and the car is not, that's not someone who follows the Israel way. That's someone who is like a hired servant. And for when you use it this way, when you use the word foreigner, the nikar is the gar, the one who has forsaken their ways and coming. And keep in mind now what I tell people, a lot of the people during this time were people of color. Now, this is the part I'm going to get to in verses 15. Said, and he shall call your name, your wife Sarai. I will bless her more, or bless her more, I'll give her a son. Yes, I will bless her, and she will be a mother of nation and king. And Abraham fell on his face and laughed and said in his heart, will a child be born to him who is 100 years old? Will Sarah, who is 99 years old, give birth? Man, they got some gall now. I'm telling you. There's some gall. All right. Abraham said, oh, that Ishmael might live before you. And you said, no, but Sarah, your wife, will bear a son. You shall call his name Yitzhak, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant after his seed. As for Ishmael, I have heard you. Behold, I have blessed him and make him fruitful and multiply him exceedingly. He will become the father of 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant with Isaac. When he finished talking, Abraham went up, right, to the house and bought the man. All right, skip that part and then that is that part.
Moray, I got a question when you're done reading.
Okay, go on.
My question is, when Abram slept with Hagar, I know they was violating the promise. Was he in sin because he slept with her? I ain't talking about them trying to achieve what the Most High said was going to be achieved through Sarah, but was he in sin I'm asking, was he in sin when he slept with her? Like, what was she to him? Was she a concubine? Was she a servant? Like, was he in sin because he slept with this woman? I don't know if he had any covenant with her. It don't say she was his wife, right? Like a second wife. Was he in sin because he slept with her? That's my question.
I would say no, because if he was, the Most High would have judged him. Now, remember, a lot Torah, they understood the oral traditions. So even though we don't see nothing there establishing this, it was because the Most High allowed it, He permitted it. It wasn't judged as a sin. All right. Now, remember, they doubted. That's why I'm getting here to this part with Sarah right now. They doubted. Abraham laughed. Listen, Sarah knew you're trying to make a baby at 99. This river done dry up, my brother. You understand? So it wouldn't have been sin because he wasn't judged. Now, when we look at David, when he committed sin with Bathsheba, the Most High judged him. Now you gotta ask, well, why you judge him and he ain't judge this one? But remember, Sarah was kind of there. She gave a handmaiden to Abraham.
I got one more question.
Right.
When Judah slept with his son that had passed wife, she disguised herself as a prostitute. Was it sin when he slept with her?
Now, looking at that, that would be deemed a transgression, because we as men shouldn't be practicing whoredom. All right. Now, this is one of the things. Now, I'm going to give you my opinion.
Yeah, break it down. What is classified as whordom? While you in that? Yeah, break it down.
Whoredom is when we go after anything else outside of the Most High's will that He has permitted, His permitted will for us. When you after other nations' deities, desire after other nations' gods, after other nations' customs and practices. All right. Even worshiping the idols, that's whoredom. That means you go on a whoring everything, their sexual practice, their worship practices, their eating habits, whoredom in a base. It's just a word of saying you're continuously going after something outside of the Most High's will. From my opinion, and what I read in Torah, now we can take a deeper look at what the actual word meaning. All right. And you're talking about those two different cases. Now, what's the determining fact? The difference in this, you see, determining fact in this.
And what you mean with Judah, David, and Abram?
Right.
David slept with somebody's wife, like she was actually married. Hagar, I don't believe, was married to nobody. She now became like under his household. Judah, his son's wife wasn't married. She was a widow. So David, I can see 100%. That's I don't know if that's considered adultery or fornication, but she was
adultery. She was married and he was married.
She was married and he was married. But far as Judah and far as Abram, that I'm not sure.
So
does intent matter?
Go ahead.
Does intentions matter? Like Abraham, he did it because his wife laughed, and so the intention was to fulfill what he had heard in his in the prophecy. So
she didn't laugh yet. We're gonna read the part with her laugh. She laughs. If I'm looking at it from the worldly man point of view, Abraham probably wanted to get some leg, and his woman give him. I'm just saying, But then this is why I say we have to look at the context of the whole thing. Why the difference between all three of those cases? Judah, he would have known that the levirate law would stand, right? Your wife, she died, she didn't have no children. So somebody was supposed to take her and give her a son. Because remember, was this the other guy who died? He didn't do it either.
That was a separate situation. He promised his younger son and then wound up marrying him off to somebody else.
Right.
Judah.
So she was supposed to be given a son. The levirate law states that if the man dies and there is no child, the next in line would have to give her a son. So when he gave away the other son, who was supposed to be her husband, she's like, all right. And that's custom. That's all right. She had to find a way to get this.
They had to find a way to get it. I know there was a custom too when, like with Hagar and Sarah, it was a custom that if you couldn't have children, if you had a handmaid, they could bear your children. Like they would, put their knees up against each other. So when the baby came out, it would come out on the other, like slide to the other knees or whatnot, you know.
Concubine.
Right. Now with Samson, I know I'm deviating. Was Samson in sin for sleeping with Delilah and the woman he was supposed to be married with?
He wasn't supposed to sleep with Delilah. Delilah was one of the nations they were supposed to destroy. That's wrong.
That's right.
He was chasing his loins. Delilah was the Philistines, was Israel supposed to destroy them. And if you look at it, the Most High had already judged him. That's why he lost his power and he went into captivity. But the Most High gave him his strength. He still ended up destroying the nation, the leaders, right? He wasn't supposed to sleep with them. So what I'm trying to say is we got to look at the sovereignty of the Most High in all of this. He could have slew Abraham. He could have slew Judah. All right. We see punish David. After David did it, what happened to David? There was a sword in his bloodline. That was the curse, right? Samson died because of his treachery. You know, but when you look at the Abraham, what we see is the sovereignty of the Most High's permissive will happening. You know, I could permit this. Why he didn't judge him? Did anything happen to Abraham because of that? All right. Then we look at Judah and you look at the Levirate law. He was supposed to give her seed. If he had no more sons, then he was supposed to lay with her.
Oh, snap. I didn't know that. I didn't know the father was supposed to do it. If they
Listen, somebody had, if there were no more sons, he had to take on.
Somebody had to take it.
Right.
It's a kinsman, the next nearest kinsman.
Right. Go ahead, Obadiah.
But the next nearest kinsman is supposed to take on that woman,
right?
Which is kind of the story of Ruth, right?
Right.
I think we missed the point though, because there's a difference between traditions of men and a commandment of the Most High. So in all those other examples, those were the traditions of the people. David violated a commandment from the Most High,
right?
Which was not to, or commit adultery,
right?
But everyone else, the custom, I mean, as I understand it, were customs. Customarily, the brother was supposed to sleep with with his brother's wife. Customarily, the maidservant, people had more than one wives, right? So Jacob had Rachel and what was it? Rebecca or
Leah.
Leah and Rachel. So I don't know that. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be like some of the brews out there that everything that happened in the Bible is a law. No, they did a lot of stuff that was just their customs and their traditions. And just because they did it doesn't mean we should be doing it. I yield.
All right, I'm trying to find it right now.
Because Jacob had two of his wives with sisters. How does that go about? I don't,
I remember Jacob was hornswoggled now.
Yeah, hornswoggled.
He was hornswoggled.
He was bamboozled.
But even that was their custom.
Right.
That the younger daughter couldn't be married before her older. Right? That wasn't a law from the Most High.
Yeah, but this is why I say when you got to look at the sovereignty, the Most High still allow it because he done sleep with her. You ain't going to, you can't give up, live with this woman, and they were twins. Right?
Who was twins?
Leah and Rachel.
One was ugly, one was cute.
No, they were.
Yeah, one was nice looking, and the other one was tough on the eyes.
Because I wouldn't have worked another 7 years for a twin. He was working for the fine one.
Listen.
We go.
I think in the book of Asha should talk about that. So it's Deuteronomy 25. Right here said, it's one of the commands. If a brother dwell together and one of them die and have no son, the wife of the dead shall not be married outside to a stranger. a husband's brother shall go into her and take him a wife and perform the duty of a husband to her. It shall be that the firstborn whom she bears shall succeed in the name of his brother who is dead, that his name not be blotted out. And it says, if a man doesn't take his brother's wife, then his brother's wife shall go up to the gate of Zechinium, the Zakin, and say, my husband's brother refused to raise up to his brother a name in Yasharel. He will not perform the duty of a husband's brother to me. The Zechinium shall call him and speak to him, and if he stand and say, I do not want to take her, then his brother's wife shall come to in the presence of the Zechinium and loose his shoe from off his foot and spit in his face, and shall answer and say, so shall it be done to the man who does not build up his brother's house. His name shall be called Yisrael, to the house of him who has his shoe untied. All right. So that was a command. You had to do it in order to bring your name up. You had to lay with your brother's wife. And we see a guy who the Most High killed because he didn't do that. All right. So, or understanding that. So when we look going back to, that's a good point. Going back to looking at this now, and when we look at this right here, this is the angel. This is when the angel came to him, and he said he looked up his eyes and saw 3 men stood opposite of him. When he saw them, he ran to meet them on the tent of the door. And we're going to get into the part. And he thought he cooked food for them. Abraham hurried to the tent, and Sarah said, quickly, make ready 3 measures of meal and knead the bread of cakes. Abraham ran to the herd, fetched the water, took hot milk, butter. Then he said, where is Sarah, your wife? He said, where is Sarah, your wife? He said, see in the tent. He said, I will certainly return to you when the season comes around. Behold, Sarah, your wife, will have a son. She heard in the tent in which he was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, well advanced in age, and it had ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. She couldn't have children no more. Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I have grown old, will I have pleasure, my Lord being also old? Then you will say to Abraham, why did Sarah laugh? This is an important verse we got to understand. Why did Sarah laugh? Will I really bear a child, yet I am old? This is what we understand. Is anything too hard for you, boy? At the set time, I will return to you when the season comes around, and Sarah will have a son. Now, bear in mind, it was for Isaac wasn't just born for anything. It was for a specific reason. The promise is that out from him, the covenant will go to Isaac, right? Then Sarah denied, saying, I didn't laugh, for she was afraid. He said, but you did not. But he said, no, but you did laugh. She was in disbelief. Now, there's a part when Moses, I think it was, when Moses was given his word. And this is what we have to remember. I want to go back to that before I get to the point I'm trying to make. In Exodus 7. And it's 7, but Pharaoh, No, let me go back. It's before that. I think it's Exodus. I'm trying to bring you all to a point so you all could see when, not the birth. How come this ain't allow me?
I seen something too in that verse. She said, I'm old. Will I know pleasure? Right. And pretty much can my husband, will I bear a child? And it's crazy because I just thought about that. Her being old, she didn't even mention, well, am I like as old as I am, will I be able to handle that pain?
Right.
She said, well, I feel the pleasure. I just looked at it like, wait, she wasn't even concerned about the pain. She wouldn't know she's gonna be able to have a good time with this. That's deep. That is.
Oh my goodness. Now that you said,
And she sounds Jamaican. She said, "My Lord, will I have pleasure?"
oh, oh my goodness. Oh, I want to share another part. I'm telling you, we miss those little small things. Let me see. I think I passed it. I got to go back. Let me start because we read that part and we see where Moses say that um I he's that man is keeping the flood. Da, 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 da. He will turn aside and see take off his sandals more. And then Moses cried, I've seen, bring forth me. Moses said, who am I that I should go, that I should bring forth the children of? And he said, certainly I bid you take off the token and send. Moses said, behold, when I come to children, what shall I tell them? He said, I am that I am. You shall tell the children who I am, name forever. Go gather the Zechariah together, and I'll tell you. Why he always send for the elders. And I have said, I will bring you out land flowing with milk and honey. I'm looking into these parasites and hepatitis to see where they are today.
All right.
Hey.
The previous verse he was reading, there was a stipulation if that man, the brother of the widow, didn't want to, the brother whose wife wasn't married or wasn't alive no more. There was a stipulation. If he didn't want to do it, he had to unloose his sandal, she would spit on him, right? Saying, let this be done to you. There was a stipulation. Because I had to look at that and I said, okay, there's a reason that man wouldn't want to deal with her. And now I'm starting to think, if that was known, right, throughout the general public, that this man's brother or brothers wouldn't want to take her, it was most likely due to her behavior, which would have sent an example for the other women saying, hey, I better watch my conduct, not just towards him, because if I treat this brother wrong and he died, I need somebody else if I don't have no male children, because there was no government assistance. Your male children help take care of you.
Right.
And I just thought about that, like, that was a way of, not for nothing, it was probably like a reality check. Like, I got to conduct myself a certain way because these men are valuable. Not like today. With that, I yield.
Good point. Yeah, I read that too. See, he had to make a choice, but boy, she was determined. And then that would have kept her in the family because now when she had a seed and a male seed, oh, you can't take me out of this family now.
Right. But what if she was wicked? I might have took that spit like, you got it. I can't suffer you.
Right.
I take the saliva.
And loose my sandals. So let's look at this part. This is the point I want to get to. It says, Moshe said, O Yahuwah, I am not eloquent, neither before now, nor since you have spoken to your servant, for I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. Then Yahuwah said to him, who made man's mouth, or who makes one's mute, or deaf, or seeing, or blind? Isn't I Yahuwah? So when you look at that, and you look at the verse we just read, when he said, is there anything too hard? This here is telling us, this is the sovereignty and Most High is telling us, listen, I am in charge of everything, and there's nothing too hard for me to do. I could do what I want to do, when I want to do it, and how I want to do it. So in other words, he's telling them, you telling me your problem, I have the solution to the problem. Now, this is the thing that stood out. Who made man's mouth? Or who makes one mute, or deaf, or seeing, or blind? So when you read that in its context, it's saying, listen, yeah, I do all these things. And then if you go to the verse in John, verse 9 and 7, man, listen, and we're going to get to that verse. If you go to John 9, 7, you see when they ask him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that this man was born blind? And Yahushua answered and said, neither did this man nor his parents, but that the works of Yahuwah might be revealed. I must work the works of him who sent me while day, for the night is coming when no man work. So here we see that it's telling us also that Yahuwah allows things to happen so he can manifest his work into this world. So how does that tie into Yahushua being the Messiah? We going back. So we don't know the covenant was made with Abraham. What part we going to now? Where we was Exodus. The covenant was made with Abraham. The covenant was made with Abraham. We see that the promise was given for him to have a son, all right? And we see that it was going to Isaac. We also see that there's nothing too hard for him. When we look at what he told Abraham, I could do anything that I choose to do. So now let's look at Sinai. Sinai is telling about it too, right? Exodus 19. So we're going to read all this one. Sinai, we got to look at back. So we know where everybody read the Sinai and said they on the mountain when Moses come down, they was shaking their leg and doing whatever they want to do. He got the 10 commandments, all that. Come down. Come down. Come now. Where's another verse? Hold on. Sanji, go down the Shabbat line. National feast. And when I read this Ahab and the Bible, I said, these dude was in line with the priest. So this is when y'all got to read Exodus, when we get into that. So Moses going up on the mountain a second time. Come back down. I think it's 20. All right. Let me do this. 23. No. Where's my? That's been there. Did I pass it? I think I did. Now you've seen the hold on. I'm looking for the verse where they rebelled and they got killed. Right here. Okay. Talk to 29. Is it? Was it 31? The golden calf. Now, this golden calf incident, I want to read this. And they saw Moses delay and come down, Aaron the high priest making all the things, doing. When Aaron saw this built, I could start from Aaron made a proclamation and said, tomorrow ye shall feast. Every time I read this, I shake my head, buddy. They rose up early the next day and offered burnt offerings and brought priests, and the people started to eat and drink and rose up to play. Watch this now. Then Yahweh spoke to Moshe and said, go get down for your people who brought out you. Now remember now, they didn't do all these nice things, who brought you up out of the land of Israel, have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded. They have made themselves molten calf and have worshipped it and have sacrificed it and said, these are your gods. Ye shall have brought you out of the land of Egypt. Then Yahweh said, I have seen these people, and behold, they are stiff-necked people. Now for leave me alone, that my wrath may burn hot against them, and I may consume them, and will make of you a great nation. Moses begged you and said, Yahweh, why does your wrath burn hot against your people that you brought forth of Mitzrayim a great power? Why should Mitzrayim speak, saying he brought them forth for evil to kill them in the mountains and consume them from the surface of the rest? Turn from your fierce wrath and repent against your people. Remember, Abram, Yitzhak, and Israel, your servants whom you swore by your own self, and said to them, I will multiply your seed in the stars, and all this, and I have spoken, I will give your seed inheritance. Then Yahuwah repented of the evil which he said to do his people. Now, here is where the importance of this goes into play. Remember from the initial what we read that it was Yahuwah who walked through the covenant, the animals, his presence. All right? Not Abraham. Now we know that as we see, they had already gotten instructions from the Most High, and they know idolatry. He told them not to do. Don't worship no idol. Don't have no other Elohim, Lewis before me. All that. Why do you think he had to kill them? I want us to look at it now. Why do you think why do you think, no, why did Moses intervene and not kill them? And really, you had to realize he could not kill them. There are some specifics in this, and it all point back to the Messiah. This is why I tell people when they say the Messiah didn't come, y'all don't understand Torah, buddy.
Your question was why he didn't kill all of Israel?
Why he didn't kill all of Israel?
Then the promise wouldn't be able to be fulfilled.
That's one of the reasons the promise wouldn't be able to fill. And also, when you look at the beginning, he already made a covenant to say the seed of this woman, the scepter shall not pass. I gonna bring someone to sell like a prophet and the Moses, and the star shall come up. A child shall be born of Jacob. Now, let's go. If you go back, who walked through the animals that were separated on the ground and made the covenant with Abraham? Yahuwah. He walked through the covenant. All right. So the only way he got, and we know, like, that's why I asked the question, what was the punishment for breaking the covenant?
Death.
Death.
Yahuwah can't die.
Right. So he made a promise to Abraham, look, I can make your descendants among all. All right. And he was going to wipe out this nation, the people who did this sacrifice. It probably had to be more than half. Right? So when we look at all of this, if he had wiped them out, he would, the covenant that he had promised, he said, even though he was going to start over, did that starting over mean starting over and doing the whole process over again, bringing out another seed from outside of the covenant he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? So now this is, bear in mind, he didn't kill the nation, right? But blood had to be atoned because the covenant was broken then. So when you look at this now, this is why Yahusha had to come in the place of Yahuwah. Listen, if Abraham had walked through those animals that was sacrificed, that was opened up on that floor, he would have no other choice but to wipe out the nation of Israel. I want you to look at it. If Abraham had walked through those animals that was laid out on the ground, he would have had to wipe out the nation of Israel right here because they went in idolatry. Moses, look what Moses said. Listen, remember Abraham, Yitzhak, and Israel, your servant, to whom you swore by your own self and said to them, I will multiply your seed of the stars of the sky on all the land that I have spoken, and I will give your seed inheritance forever. He had to remind him of the covenant. And if we go back to that in Genesis, what it is, 15, he had to remind him. See, it says, you said, I will now know that I will inherit it. He said to him, take a heifer, 3 gale goats. He took them, divided them, the birds of prey. Then he showed him the dream, and he will judge the nation, but you will go in the 4th time. And it says, it came when the sun went down, a smoking furnace and a flaming torch passed between them. That's the presence of Yahuwah. So Yahuwah went in and walked and made the covenant with Abraham, but he was the one who was going to be the sacrifice. He put his life on the line, not Abraham. That's why when you look in context of all this, what would have happened if Abraham had walked through that? What would have happened? He would have wiped him out. Yahuwah made the covenant with him. He walked to them. And when you go to Sinai and you look and you say, these people, they did what they want to do. And he was going to kill them. Moses reminded him about the covenant. Listen, remember your covenant you made now. Now, now when you look at that, and then you go to let's look at
I got
Mashiach.
something on that verse right there before you leave. He
Go
said,
ahead.
remember Abraham, Yitzhak, and Israel, your servants, okay, to whom you swore by your own self. Right? And we know that if you made an oath to the Most High, it had to be carried out. Like the
Right.
man who said that, what was it, the next person that comes over the hill or something, I'm going to kill him or something like that, sacrifice him, and his daughter came. I forgot how the whole account go, and he had to make good on that. So it's like if Yah swore it by himself, he got to make good on that. He's not a man that he should lie.
No.
And then this is why I believe that it was no way he could have let Isaac be sacrificed.
Right. Because then he would avoid his own covenant.
Would have avoided the covenant.
So this tells us now, and this is people don't look at. All right. We had broke the covenant from here. And what did he do? He killed everybody. He couldn't die, so he killed everybody who partook in it. He killed each and every one of them. All right. But then we see a continuous repetition of breaking the covenant. From the beginning, he made the covenant. So let's look at Matthew now. And this is, it says, she shall bring forth his son, you shall call his name Jehusha, and he shall save his people from their sin. All right. Now, all of this has happened that it may be fulfilled, which was spoken by you through the prophet, saying, behold, the virgin shall come with us, shall bring forth a son, and she shall call the name Emmanuel, which is interpreted, Yahuwah is with us. All of it is spoken about. Now, the question is, when we look at all the evidence that is presented about the prophesied Messiah, whether people look at the sacrifice, human sacrifice is wrong, and if we also look at what's the two greatest commandments, have no other Elohim but me, and what's the other one? When one lay down his life for another. Love the neighbors, love yourself. Right? Now, if we look at it, didn't Yahusha, or let's say the man who claimed to be Yahusha, didn't he lay down his life? And what does the word say? Whoever laid down his life shall what? If I lay down my life to save, let's say, my son, if he is going to die.
Whoever tries to save his life will lose it, and whoever lays down his life will gain it.
Will gain it. So if I give up my life for somebody else to die, something. This is another debate. Salvation is mine because I gave my life. I cut my life short to redeem somebody. Now, when we look at how the Mashiach died, was Didn't he give up his life? He gave his life to save a nation. And why? Because Yahuwah couldn't die. He made the covenant. So someone had to come in place. He divorced us too. So when you look at all these prophecies, everything that comes, the question is, all right, if they say Yahusha never came and he is in the Mashiach, then who is the person that fulfilled these prophecies? Then the other question is, all right, where is the temple? You got to ask, who is the person that fulfilled these? Why did the temple sacrifice stop? Because the priesthood tried to maintain it, but when those apostles went out there, they was preaching against that. Who fulfilled all these things if he never came? Where did the temple sacrifice stop? And why did the priesthood come to an end?
Also, wasn't it because sometimes they'll look at it and say a man can't die for sins. Can sin be transferred from one to another and imputed to one? Like, wasn't it that the sin would go on to the animal for the nation, and then the priest would put his hand on the animal, and now he would bear the sin of the nation?
Atonement, yes.
The high priest. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Exactly. It's the same thing. And that's what Israel did. That's why he said in Hebrews, the blood of goats, the blood of animals, they can't work no more. And Yahushua was forced. Listen, Yahuwah knew there's no way we could have survived.
You know what I look at too when we was talking about that seed being protected?
Right.
During the time of the Maccabees.
Right.
The tribe of Judah should have been wiped out if they was going against the Greeks.
Yep.
If that not be for, because the Greeks were no joke, right? And they probably had allies. So the fact that they was able to stand and still survive was only the hand of the Most High. That's just one account of a war that we probably should have lost.
Listen, Israel's supposed to be a dead nation. That's why from the beginning, the Most High made the. I'm telling you, when you look at it, if Abraham had walked through them, he would have had to start this thing over and over and over again. But he made a promise. So those are the questions you got to ask. That's why, like you said, Ed, when you ask the people who are Torah only, well, how do you atone for transgression if you don't believe you're Torah only and you don't believe in the Mashiach? How do you atone for sin? Because blood have to be on the altar. Who is atoning for you? So when we look at let's go to this. John 5:39. John 5:39. You search the scriptures because now remember now, this scriptures is talking about the Torah, because of you think that in them you have eternal life, and these are they which testify of me. Now he's referencing that the whole book. There's another passage in Luke 24:44, I think it is. He said to them, this is what I told you while I was still with you, that all things which are written in the law of Moshe and the prophets and the Psalms concerning me must be fulfilled. So when people deny him, now, how do you reconcile this? And other people may say, well, oh, we don't know who the author, we don't know who the writer of this, we don't know who this. Okay, then tell me, if it's anything we know, why did the temple sacrifice stop? And if Yahusha never came, where did the priesthood go? Because nobody has done an animal sacrifice in any temple, as far as I know, from I was born, to atone for sin. Only some of the other people out there try to do it. These are the things and examples we have to look at. And when we compare all these things, it only points to one person. And a book of Acts said, for Yahushua, Moshe indeed said to the forefathers, Yahuwah will raise up a prophet from you among your brothers like me. You shall listen to him in all things, whatever he says to you. It will be that every soul who will not listen to that prophet will be utterly destroyed from among the people. Yes, all the prophets from Shemuel and those followed after, as many as have spoken, they also told of these days. You are the sons of the prophets, and the covenant of Yah made with our forefathers, saying, Abraham, in your seed will the families of the rest be blessed. You, having raised up his servant, you shall send him to you first to bless you in turning away everyone from your wickedness. And if you look to the right here, Isaiah 7:14, the promised child, Isaiah 9 said, government on the shoulders, Isaiah, the suffering servant, Micah 5:4, born in Bethlehem, Zechariah 9:9, king riding on a donkey. The thing that people have to look at is who fulfilled these prophecies. Did Matthew, did Mark, did Luke, did John, did Paul, did James, did Peter? Who fulfilled these prophecies? Who does it point to? Was there anyone in throughout history fulfilled these prophecies? We're not talking about a dead person. We're talking about someone who is alive, who people bear witness to seeing him raised from the dead. Let's look at this.
I think if they don't believe in the Messiah, they would also have to discount all the apostles, right? Because then if you don't discount the apostles, then you would have to deem them crazy.
They would have been killed.
Yeah, or discount their death, because there's like how do you put together why these men who were living their lives now dying for something that isn't real? All of them, like they weren't out of their mind. They was businessmen. They was working for the government or whatever. They was, different things they was doing. Why would these men, and I'm sure some women, just start doing things that was getting them killed and traveling to do stuff to get them killed? If this Messiah wasn't true, they would have to deem them crazy, or they discount everything. And sometimes they discount the whole Brit Hadashah, the whole New Testament. They try to discount it because you got to go through a whole lot. And then how is there so much evidence for this person?
Mm-hmm.
There's too much evidence, and that's how you measure history, by the evidentiary method.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you measure it. So if you discount him, you got to discount dang near there's more evidence for him than it is for Moses.
Right.
And they don't dispute Moses at all. But there's more evidence for him than it is for Abraham. And they don't discount that at all. That's like blasphemous to them. So it just, if you really be objective, even if you don't believe he was the Messiah, you can't say he didn't exist. But if you say he exists and you discount him being the Messiah, then you really just ignoring plain facts.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Yahoo.
There are some people who are Torah only, because I have a couple of friends on Facebook who are Torah only. They didn't start off as Torah only. They actually believe in Hamashiach, but they do not ascribe to the writings of the Brit Hadashah outside of certain epistles of the Torah, like of, I think, Mark, they acknowledge, and some of the other non-canonized books, but they do not prescribe to the other books, but they consider themselves Torah only. I just thought that was kind of interesting. I yield. It's a slippery slope to me.
Can't hear you, Maury.
Okay, no, I'm saying everybody, anybody, how are you atoning for your sin? If you said the Messiah never came, you know, you don't believe the Mashiach, like the Yahusha. Some even say that I don't believe he is the Messiah. I believe he was anointed though. Yeah, that don't make no sense. Like they say, at all. Somebody, listen. So, like in that case, we have an imposter. Maybe I'm the Messiah. Because I see they say they had one guy saying he's the Messiah, flood coming, and everybody get rid of their stuff. And when the flood didn't come, you know. But this is what it leaves like for me, like, bro, and like you see some of the arguments is who fulfilled the multiple. These are the things that I say. You gotta who fulfilled the prophecies. Did he? Some people even debate. Oh, Mary is a woman. She can't. She couldn't be. But see, let me tell you. When you look at it, it boils down to the sovereignty of the Most High. Because what people was expecting is the Messiah to come through a royal lineage and to be full of this such what they call it pleasantry. Torah predicts the Redeemer that is now described with suffering and kingship. The renewed covenant presents Yahusha as the fulfillment. I asked this to someone. I said, if you're non-messianic, then you got to tell me who this person, because something happened. Somebody was crucified. The priesthood ceased. The animal sacrifice ceased. If he never came, we would have still been doing animal sacrifices today. So when we look at all this and everybody and everything say, and when people look at it, you got to look at the scripts. If Yahusha is not the Mashiach, then we have even then that means that this walk that we in now is a fallacy. So then that means that will set us back some years.
Not just that, but where is the Sanhedrin?
My point.
Where they at? Because that means leadership wouldn't have never changed. Where's the Sanhedrin at? Where they go? You know, would the government have really, like, would they have destroyed Jerusalem? Like, the Sanhedrin had Israel in line to the Roman government.
Yep.
Besides a couple of,
the zealots.
Yeah, the zealots and the Sakari and different people, different factions. But for the most part, Israel was paying taxes. Why would they destroy those? That's one of Caesar's. That was the goal. Pay me, and make sure you show me reverence. They said we have no other God but. Well, I guess they wouldn't believe that part. They wouldn't believe that part.
But so, I'm saying that to say all of this that when we look at the biblical text, I mean honestly, and this is the respect to everybody. There's some level of ignorance you have to grow in. You can't always say that. And some, like you say, some just going over camp doctrine, like how Zion likes destroying this last one, Kodesh now. I don't know if you all seeing that.
Yeah, I saw it.
Dang. We got to get to a point that if in other words, if we're gonna ignore the scripts, let's ignore them with some sensibility in mind, man. Let's ignore them with the understanding that I can't just say, oh, I don't believe it because no man could die for your sin. Is he dead? Huh? And then when we look at the simple, let's look at life in general. How many people have got shot in the head? How many people have got some life-ending injuries and they still here? Or how many people who have died 2-3 minutes come back? What is that telling us when we look at all of that? How many near-death experiences or death experiences people had, they come back? You think the doctors really had anything to do with it? Anyone? Can you all hear me?
Ah,
All right. The question is, when people have these near-death experiences, do we think doctors have anything to do with bringing those people?
no.
Yes, Yao, you've been in the medical field. I'm sure you got some stories.
Absolutely.
So when we look at that, it's only the will, the sovereign will of the Most High. Listen, I don't know if you all used to watch this show which used to come on named Trauma in the ER. Let me see if I can find that. To show you all, when you look at these things, when you look at these things, and you gotta ask yourself, like, just when you look at the sovereign will of the Most High, is one, this right here. Is this it? All right, I think I want y'all to look at this.
In 1998, a man by the name of Michael Hill was stabbed directly in the center of his head by an 8-inch serrated survival knife. Hill was visiting his sister at her home in Jacksonville, Florida, when they heard the doorbell ring, so he answered it. After opening the door, Hill was stabbed in the head by a man who was later named as Derek Smith. He was also known to be a neighbor of Hill's sister. At first, he thought he had been struck by a fist. He remained conscious as his blood splattered across the 28. A man by the name of Michael Hill was stabbed directly in the center of his head by an 8-inch serrated survival knife. Hill was visiting his sister at her home.
See if I can find it. Y'all gotta ask. I remember watching that. So what I'm saying is things like this, right? How do you how do you think it's possible for people to survive those things? Was it just?
Yeah. That's all. Yeah, I know a guy got shot all up in the face. He's still walking, talking, breathing, eating food. You know,
Right.
that's all. Yeah.
I watched this. This was on EA, and they took the knife out. They were saying this dude could be deaf, dumb, black. Nothing happened to him. Let me show you another one. See here? Point blank range.
Listen, it's called Connect Team, and it's insane. I don't do schedules or timesheets manually anymore.
And it works?
Oh, like you wouldn't believe.
Hey, Jerry.
How you doing?
You remember me?
I can't see your face. Let's see. I can't get closer.
Can you see me?
Now, really, see this? That's about the design?
I know.
Okay,
No, I
now-
photographed you.
Oh, you photographed me
You
now?
remember I photographed you a while back?
Wait a minute. Is you the one with the electric car?
Yeah.
How'd the photo come off? Come on.
The photo turned out great. Next time I see you, I'll show you. I'll show
I can't
you.
work that right see, but I'm glad it turned great.
Tell me your story. You and I have we've talked several times now, but I don't really know exactly the full details of what happened to you 5 years ago.
Okay. I was sitting at a bus stop, going home from work one night.
Coming home from work.
A couple months later, I woke up in the hospital. I thought I was dreaming. The doctor told me that I was shot in the side of the head with a shotgun.
You were shot in the side of the head with a shotgun.
He said the only reason I survived because it was point blank range. He said it was not point blank range, my head would be out of the streets.
Now, now listen to me now. Let's be real now. You get shot in your head, point blank range, your shotgun, the doctor can tell you the only reason you survived is because it was point blank. That's utter nonsense. The only reason you survived is because the Most High had his hand upon your life, brother. Nobody. So I'm saying that to say that when people talk about they don't believe the Mashiach, hold on. How he survived? Huh? You don't believe the Mashiach came? But this dude walking around here with a point blank shotgun blow to the head? This dude walking around who had an 8-inch knife fully stuck in his head? Those are the things where you got to understand, listen to me, is Yahuwah's sovereign will, buddy. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So when people, this is how I look at everything. I look at life and I be like, hold on. Oh, Murray, what this have to do with it talks about the sovereignty of Yahuwah. And what people read, look at, like if you read what he said to Jeremiah, right? It sums it all up.
Didn't was it Elijah or one of the prophets brought somebody back from the dead? Was it the young was the lady's
Elijah?
son? Right. So there's more evidence of that than it is for how Adam and Eve were created. Because there's no other man we can look to say he was created from the dust. And there's no woman that we know that was created from the man's rib that was made from the dust.
Okay.
But they don't never dispute Adam and Eve. They don't dispute a body of water being split. They don't dispute a man being able to rip open a lion you just go down the list. A man fighting a giant or giants or fall. Well, some of them don't believe in fallen angels or whatnot. So, because they discount the book of Enoch, which talks about the Messiah. So, yeah.
So when you look at this, Jeremiah 1:12, he said, then you will say to me, you have seen well, for I watch over my word to perform it. Say that heaven and earth will pass away before one jot or tittle of is moved from his word. And the word will not return unto him void. So when we look at is Yahuwah the Messiah, even if people doubt and say no, then you have to answer some question. How do you atone for your sin? Where's the Sanhedrin? All right. Where's the temple for the sacrifice? And like you say, people go blank or they go like, well, I don't know. Has anybody ever answered any of the questions you asked them?
How do you even have a relationship with the Most High? The covenant is broke.
I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. No one coming to the Father but by me. Why? Because now my life, my blood is atoning for the sin. But we don't believe in the New Testament. Okay, then find me redemption in the old then. Show me redemption of Israel, because according to the Tanakh, he divorced us. And that's why Zion Lex had to come back and recount. Go ahead, Kako.
All I got is Yirmiyahu 29. Yirmiyahu 29. Um, you know, well, as you're getting there, it is reiterated in Acts 2, James 1, 1 through 18. And all it's talking about is, getting together and exercising dominion. Yeah. When verse we start at verse 4. Yeah, here it is. Thus says Yah of hosts, Elohim of Israel, to all the captivity, whom I to be carried away captive from city of peace unto confusion. Build your houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens, and eat the fruit of them. Take wives and father sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, and multiply you there, and don't be diminished. Seek the shalom of the city where I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray to Yah for it, for in the shalom of it shall you have shalom. For thus saith Yah of hosts, Elohim of Israel, don't let the prophets who are in the midst of you and your diviners deceive you, neither listen you to your dreams which you cause to be dreamed. For they prophesy falsely to you in my name. I have not sent them, says Yah. For thus saith Yah, after 70 years are accomplished in Babel, I will visit you and perform my good and toward you, good word toward you, in causing you to return to this place. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says Yah, thoughts of shalom and not of evil, to give you hope in your latter end. Hallelujah. I always like to get all the way to 11 because that's the context of 11. He's literally having this hope for these individuals. And even if it's applied to today and not for, them at that time, this is where I even look at why, atonement. I'm not sure they were doing that when they were in Babel, but then they were brought back because they followed the instructions that were given to them when they were in their captivity. That I yield.
Hallelujah. All the praises. One of the things too before we get ready to go, is you anytime I read something and there's a void, I don't do it. Like if we were supposed, like, even if so, then that voids the Mashiach reading Isaiah. If we were supposed to be Torah only, like that's the foundation, that's where we read, that's our go-to, that's everything. And we keep them. How would we ever know about, if we never had the New Testament, how would we ever know about the Mashiach? We would have either had to read it through somebody's written lens. Then you read John 17, you read this Hebrews verse. These people experiencing, they write these things so they know, right? But all praises. So I hope we get an understanding. And it's just a basic understanding of it. Like, it's impossible for you to say for you to believe in your heart that Yahusha came. Because let's end it on this first. I'll go right here.
Can I give one before you give that
Sure.
one?
Yeah.
Daniel, chapter 7. And this was the NLT. It says
What verse?
Daniel 7, and I jumped to 9. It says, I watched as thrones were put in place, and the ancient one sat down to judge. That's verse 9. His clothing was as white as snow, and his hair like purest wool. Sat on a fiery throne with wheels of blazing fire. That's verse 9. If we jump down right to verse 13. As my vision continued that night, I saw someone like a son of man coming with the clouds of heaven. And he approached the ancient one and was led into his presence. He was given authority, honor, and sovereignty over all the nations of the world, so that of every race, nation, and language would obey him. His rule is eternal. It will never end. His kingdom will never be destroyed. That has not happened yet.
Nope.
So they couldn't, because a lot of times they like to say David fulfilled a lot of this, but that wasn't the case with that. And then how do you discuss end times to the fullest without the New Testament? You can't. You kind of get a halt when you talk about the gathering. You can cover the scattering, but the gathering, you're going to still be left with some holes because you don't have the full picture. And then my last point in Daniel, as it breaks down the statutes and what's going to happen, who was that stone? That hasn't happened yet. Who was that stone that broke up all the knocked the whole statue down? You know, so certain ones they're gonna dance around. They definitely would dance around.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Now, if we go to 1 John 3, uh, oh, first John, is it 5? Um, right here. It says, whoever believes that Yahusha is the Messiah is born of Yahuwah. Whoever loves the Father also loves the child who was born of him. By this we know that we love the children of Israel when we love Yahuwah and keep his commandments, mitzvot. All right. So apart from believing, we know it's also doing and living a certain way. So if you don't believe in Yahushua the Messiah was born, then you truly don't love Yahuwah. And it say when we love him and we keep his mitzvah, his commands, then we understand what does his command say? If you love me, keep my commandments, believe on me. This is where the will come on. There's no other way you could get atonement without believing on the work of Yahusha, the sacrifice. There's no other way. So does that make these people void of Torah, even though they claim to be, if they don't believe in Mashiach? That's a bit personal one right there. John 17, the whole one. I sent me, you sent him. Read the whole stuff. I and them, and you and me, that they be perfected into one. Father, I desire they also. Who wrote this? Who's saying this? I am they, and this is why. Listen, in a nutshell, I just say that we living in a time, whereas I'm telling you, seducing spirits is a real thing. All right. We ain't gotta believe it, but seducing spirits is a real thing. So next week we gonna start at 7. This is a new week. I'm gonna share this one out, and we gonna be on Zoom. And just briefly, just looking at it from the perspective, if you all want to take a picture of these three, you can see it. Because what I like to do is look at timelines. There's nobody else who fulfilled this. Nobody else. There's nobody else. And that's why the synagogue of Satan, they trying to reestablish a temple. We're gonna be here next week. I can share this. And then some other topics we probably could touch on.
So they're still waiting.
Yep.
A lot of them brothers, they believe a Messiah is coming, so they're still just, they still twiddling their thumbs. That's a rough situation.
they still waiting on the return of a Messiah. They still waiting on. So anybody want to jump on next week to take on another one of these? Yes. It's open to everyone. Just lead the discussion.
I got you. What's that say? Yahusha and Yahuwah one?
Yeah, you don't have to do it in line. You can pick whichever one. We go into all. And so the whole goal of it is we can do our research too. Let's look it up, bring your word, bring questions, bring everything. That's the whole purpose. I'll have a streamline down to show you how we're doing. So it's not just one person talking, it's an open discussion. Whatever you present, that's what we go all look up on and talk about it. And yes, we into pros and cons. If you don't believe, all right, explain your disbelief. Prove it according to the word.
I see the one I want to do.
Oh, I can't wait. So anybody, whoever Kakum, Ed, Scott, let's bring it out. I mean, this is the way how we gonna get the best of it when we do talk about these amongst ourselves. When we look into the text. Omar, Kakum, Obadiah. I will see which one Obadiah can pick. Are you there? Kakum, which one you getting?
Oh no, I'm bouncing around on a couple of them.
Hey, look here. We got plenty of time. You can do one. Oh, this was more. You could do one at a time. You can be.
I'm taking John 3:16.
Hey, that's a good one.
I think I'm gonna do that replacement theology.
All right.
I'll do that one.
Just put it in the chat group. Say we'll know.
Is this list in the chat group?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Obadiah, you do the Esau doctrine.
Strong. Y'all messing with me. I'm gonna do women as mores.
Oh man.
Nah. All right, I'm gonna give some thought to it.
Well, you can pick it. What I want to see and see. This is open up to objective opinions to and views. If you object it, come on, bring it. We gonna prove everything. Like I think we all agree on Yahusha being the Messiah. I know which one Zach ain't gonna do, and I'm waiting for it.
Oh, can you go down? Does that say polygamy down further?
Yes. Oh yeah, that's polygyny. But cut off it.
What is it? What does it say? The whole
polygyny.
thing?
Yeah, that's polygyny.
Oh, you know what? I think I'm gonna do that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
I'll take flat Earth.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a big one, Scott.
I was already a tinfoil hat way before I was Torah. So that's how it is.
All right. That's a big one. Obadiah, you say what you doing? Women as lead mores?
No, that was a joke. That was a joke. I'm gonna give some thought to it. I'll send it to you.
I'll put it. I'll put it again in the chat. I know which one Zach ain't doing. Y'all get your popcorn for that one. I know which one he doing.
Who's going? He's going next week.
Whoever decides to go next week, we gonna keep the rotation going. I'm sure the crowd could go as it come along. And so let me kind of give you all the perspective that we coming from. I think if I do another one, it probably could do pre-trib rapture. That right there is a bunch of, oh, they had us. They got us good with that one, buddy.
They just had a rapture thing. What was it? It's about 6 months ago, 5, 6 months ago.
Yep.
And one of the guys, he would not come out and admit he was wrong. He said, "Oh, the vision I had wasn't for the Gregorian calendar; it was for another calendar, and it was supposed to be like 3 days later. And the people sent him more money, and he was wrong about that." I said, "Damn, he collected more money than Benny Hinn that day."
All right. So, like I say, the structure of this is, just a Torah discussion. Each week, one will be scheduled. Let me read this up and make sure the screen big. Because what we ain't gonna do, personal opinions will be treated like the coronavirus vaccine. So I'm gonna put this on a slide so we all could so we could read these before we get started. Items needed: use a Tanakh, the Brit Hadashah, the lexicons, dictionaries, online scholarly sources. This is a Torah discussion, not a teaching or personal belief or doctrinal views that is not aligned with Torah. We ain't doing that. But this is what I believe. You prove your belief, buddy. Each week, one man will be scheduled to lead, whose role is simply to steer the conversation, not instruct or dominate. That's why all men are encouraged to this with questions, observation, wrestling with the text are welcome. Sometimes we may get something we don't agree on, but we got to prove it all out. The whole purpose of this is us to understand and see what they say. Now, I know we looking at it from the perspective of the English. Some of us, I'm going to try to see if I could get Ducey on a few on who understand the Hebrew a little more better than us. And this is something what I saw, like I said, we have consistently found that many of our personal family and assembly level challenges stem from the fact that Torah has not yet been fully accepted, understood. I'm sure there's something on the list some of y'all may not agree to. Space is intended to strengthen men in Torah knowledge, wisdom, understanding, responsibility, and accountability. Encourage men to think, speak, and reason in Torah. Build confidence in handling scripture without reliance, pulpit-style teaching. Foster unity. So this is something I want us to know, like, if we don't all agree on something, man, that don't mean we have to turn our back or become enemies because of it. And we gonna touch, I'm telling you, everything. Scott said he gonna do this flat earth one. Man, I have a book on that. That was one that had me shook too. I was like, what? So you mean to tell me all them grades I get wrong in school, they owe me? Hey, how you doing? Is together? Hey, let me call you right back. I coming off Zoom. I could do that? All right. All right. So Africa is the wilderness. Oh, that's gonna be a good one. I hear some people say listen to me. The craziest one I hear is the wilderness is in Utah. You want to hear that one? Anybody heard that one yet?
Never heard that one.
I heard Judah is Utah. The land of Utah was actually a form of Judah.
Never heard.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can get to Africa through the Grand Canyon, though.
I've heard that too.
I've heard that too. I got a big.
Yeah, there's a supposedly there's a map showing all of the biblical sites or locations that are mentioned in the scriptures in the Midwest, centered around Utah.
Bro, you talking pre-Adamic, pre-flood, all right? Pre-Adamic, pre-flood. How they connect that? How to walk from here to unless you're going underground, and we will die. I ain't saying that there's no underground tunnels, no, but that's you traveling through a different dimension then. So Scott, if you have a map to get from Africa to Utah, please share it. That's important information we may have. Anybody have a map? Is that what they call it? Oh, what's the map they call it?
Tartaria.
Tartaria map. Man, listen, I'm telling you, but I'm excited. Ed gonna take on next week. And then we'll just keep rotating. Ed, what you doing now? So what you gotta share? What we
I couldn't read the whole thing, but on the polygyny, what does it fully say?
Yeah, that's just let me see. Hold on. Well, that's a hard topic. I'm telling you, that right there now. Listen.
I've heard a lot of discussion,
I know, but concubines now.
Miko's gonna teach on that one.
One day. That and concubine, they got plenty of people. It's women are concubine now. I say I don't get it. Someone please help me understand. What is a concubine? Like, what's the purpose of it? You giving up your body, you giving up everything, but you ain't sure you gonna be a wife? I think you'd be defeating the purpose.
I don't know. In the last days, they say the women will work and they'll just to have a name or have a man, a covering.
Yep.
7 to 1.
That's what is written.
I'm just saying we need to how you say, as it is above, it is below. We need to practice. We need to prepare.
Well, why don't you start it off? We can follow you.
Well, my life insurance ain't paid. So.
I got what you say, Obadiah?
My life insurance ain't paid. I gotta be careful.
All right. So
that would be the end of me.
I'm going to share this right now to show you all I'm trying to share. Now, let me see it. Yeah, so that is just some of I could post this in the chat group. To talk about and we could discuss. I could put it in the chat group right now. And then this is something we was discussing as Miriam, what our deal breakers are, what are not. And so I said, I think this will be a good thing for us to talk about and discuss. Because like even the Esau doctrine, like what man, that right there, I shake my head every time I hear it. Esau is the white man. Really? Seeing two Negroid people at a child? At a Caucasian baby? with no trace of Negro in their bloodline. You think they had a Caucasian baby? Really? Or do you think that they were conquered and their race was who conquered them now? What was the Romans? No, before them.
Get him.
Chittim, right? They joined up with them, then they conquered them. Romans and everything believe in them. You know? And then I asked the question to guys like, all right, so let me ask you something. What, according to the Torah, what makes one a descendant of the nation? Your father has to be of Hebrew descent, right? Right. So I say if a Hebrew man lay with any woman on the earth, besides the seven that the Oilers and the ancestors were slinging, buddy. All right, that child is a Hebrew, right? Oh no, but he's a bastard. Oh, okay then. Well, Joseph's children will be bastards. Solomon, was his mother Hebrew? Yes. Ishmael will be a bastard. I said, that will make them void of the covenant. Have you ever read Exodus, 23 and 9? Do not abhor Edomite or Deuteronomy 23? Huh? Look at that before we go. These are the things that people I understand. And then when you read the circumcision covenant, read this one. It's Deuteronomy 23 and 9, I think. Have any of you all ever read this? 23:7. You shall not abhor Edomite, for he is your brother. You shall not abhor the Mitzrayim, Egyptian, because they live as a foreigner in the land. The children of the third generation who are born to them shall what? Enter into the assembly of Yahuwah. So, is that Torah? Oh, yes, it is. So what is that saying to us? No. And see, this is the word. You see, when we look at stranger or foreigner, now you see the word gar. These are the strangers who had forsaken their ways and who had come into the land. They turned aside. This is the one. So it's talking about a specific type. To turn aside. All right, gentlemen. So next week will be Ed. I post all the messages in the group again. We're gonna meet back next week at 7. And then Ed, if you have any questions or anything you want to ask us ahead of time, we want to be prepared. All right. So anybody like to close us out in prayer? All right, I'll pray. Abihu, we just thank you for this day. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for this time. We just ask that all the words that were said or what was brought forth today, Abba, let it be remembered into our minds and heads so we may take it and share it with others. We pray for your guidance and protection over every man on here tonight. We ask for your blessing upon us and be with us in the mighty name of Yeshua. So let it be.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Scott, I thought I was going to see your friends tonight.
Well, I have been messaging him and he hasn't been responding, so I don't know if he's tied up or not. But I was hoping he would come back on because he did come on for a little bit one day, but he was fixing a water leak that he had because we had some below freezing temperatures. But he had said he enjoyed the service and the prayers and some particular things of it while he was listening. So I was hopeful, but I'll keep working on him and I'll be praying and. We know that Yahweh can do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, man. We're going to keep praying for you for the work he has called you to do. How's the children? Did it work out well?
Yeah, it's been really amazing. Since we talked. We've
Right.
been praying now with Genesis. Hasn't been going too great, but it's on the outside. But we know that things ain't always what we see. It's what we know that Yahweh was doing in the background, and trust in the process a little bit, you know.
Right.
But my children have been calling me wanting to come spend time with me, so I got 3, 4 coming over tomorrow. So hallelujah for
Praise
that.
yeah.
And we're gonna go to got the grandson over here, taking him to the goat sale tomorrow. So it's gonna be a hoot. Yeah, just really grateful. Thank you all. Toda.
All right. You sell your goats?
Yeah, we buy and sell. So what we do is we try. This is our first year that we're fixing to have some kids next month.
Right.
Should have 10 if they all have twins like normal. And so what we'll
Okay.
do is we have noticed that I can get 3 times the money for the mother and 2 kids. So if say she weighed 300 pounds and it was $1 a pound, then I would get $300 times three, that even just for her kids that just got born. So it's kind of a lucrative business to try to get your does and cycled. So every say 7 months, you can have a kind of little paycheck come in.
Wow. You sell mutton that cheap, Scott?
Oh no, I was just using that hypothetically.
Okay. I gotta
Because
say.
I got a really I got about a fifth grade education, so I wasn't going to do no math unless I could do round numbers.
I know that. Boy, $1 a pound, that's good. Yeah, man. We may get some for you coming for Passover, man.
Yeah, I'm so excited about Passover, man. If it was even a fraction like Sukkot, I am so stoked. It's really looking forward
Yeah,
to it.
it's gonna be good, man. Remind me if you have anything, I want to get one for you for the assembly for Sukkot. I'll buy one from you.
Oh, you want us to bring up? You want it alive or do you want it already pre-slaughtered?
Pre-slaughtered. They
Okay, yeah,
they ain't
certainly
ready
do
for
that.
slaughtering yet. I gotta cut, man. I come down when they used to do your own slaughtering.
Yeah, we do our own. We're actually that's what we're having tomorrow is spaghetti with goat meat, and I'm here to tell you, man, it's really a good feeling knowing where your food comes from. You didn't inject it with a bunch of chemicals. I don't like mutton myself, but I do like goat. Um, Lamb, I have tried it every way you could think of, and I cannot make myself like it. So I'm really excited. It is gross. It's gross. I can't help it.
You do the slaughtering yourself?
Yes, we do it ourselves.
Oh
We're
man,
kind of
you gotta send me a video of it, man.
okay. I got some pictures already. I could send you.
Oh, say I do. You send it to me. Yeah, I want to learn. That's what I bought my knife for. I want to
Okay,
learn. All right.
okay. If I didn't delete them, I'll send them to you. But I think I still
Yeah,
got 'em.
Shit, that's
yeah,
what I bought my knife for.
That's
yeah.
right.
What the heck? Listen, that's my long-term dream is to raise sheep and goats. You know.
Oh, it's a hoot, man. There's something else. There's just a bunch of big. There's big babies, always getting in trouble.
Yeah. So the saying is you got to protect the sheep from the lion and you got to protect the lion from the goat.
That's right.
Yeah.
It
All
is.
right, man. But shalom, shalom. I'll remind you as we get closer. Shalom, shalom, everybody.
Shalom, shalom.
Kakum, we got Kakum. Hang on for a minute. I got something to ask you.
Okay.
Hey. All right. Shalom, shalom, everybody. Kakum. Obadiah, you still there?
Okay, Calvin. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I just wanted to see if you had another opportunity to talk to Kanayahu because I know Doc did mention to me about the dollar sub, and I think he's supposed to. He asked me about you. He's supposed to reach out to you and the other lady.
Um, I I haven't spoken with Maury Kanyahu one on one since maybe a couple weeks ago. or was it last week? One of them, but in general, I haven't. I'm not like in a role um where I ever know what's going on. So
Understand.
so I kind of like it that way because then it's more of, you know, be who I am and do what I'm doing.
Right.
Um all of it is, for me, I believe, focused in building and growing and, you know, um in a Torah centered way,
Yeah.
So that's I feel like I'm just being me, and I'm prayerful that I'm never offensive. Um
Or you're gonna offend somebody at some point now. I can almost promise you that. Somebody gonna be offended.
but that's why that's the prayer, because I have a knack for that. Like and sometimes it's been, loud and to me distractive, and I'd rather avoid things like that because I'm, just here to serve. I'm just here to serve my father, wherever I see I can serve. So
Right.
that's why
Yeah.
it's
So I mean, we just want to know, the direction you're going in so we know how to, you know, walk it if you go into with them or you're continuing on with us. Because one thing we encourage is, you notice we never ask nobody to, everybody made their decision, but we would just like to know that so we know how to move as we grow in this process.
hallelujah. So for me, I'm um and it's interesting because if I hadn't um been so engaged with GAI,
Right,
I had a Shabbat experience,
right,
and then a men's Boker prayer experience,
right,
and then more Orlando's How We Wrestle Not experience, where some things came where it's, you know, when I hear loyalty, I only know of GAI because I was introduced through Beit Shema Torah, and that's who, I had a committed, submissive, loyalty to. Like I would follow them blindly, just as, when my brother touched me on the shoulder this past Shishi, when there's a coup going down the farm, and I'm trying to, and he just nah, and because I shut up, it self imploded in front of everyone's eyes,
mm-hmm,
and it's one of those things where um I know why I made that choice then.
right,
Um, wasn't intending to, I've even tried to start, because all I'm doing is trying to follow what I know Abi who has called me to do.
right.
Um, and so them seeing me seeing them asking me, you know, in regards to my submission. Um, so yeah, me acknowledging and giving it, for me to do anything else, would be less than a man of integrity. So, you
Is
know,
is 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 Dawood, you live in the same area, right?
yeah, Dawood's the nearest Moray to me, Kane.
He's still with them, right?
I haven't spoken to him, but I would regard so Kane. I think he would have told me if he had changed any
Okay.
direction.
All right. Well, I just wanted to have a conversation with you because I know as we move forward this, we just want to be sure that everybody understands, like we said, some people, I talked to Maury David and say some people saying that they're non-messianic. No, I say, man, listen, if you worry about everything that is said to you, you may not be or act like who we are. People gonna say, people gonna do whatever they feel like when they feel like they're gonna do it and they're gonna say it. So you gotta decide on, hey, where do I stand in all of this?
Hey,
If people say this is me or where do I stand? What do I so I just leave it as it is, man. Let them talk. All right. But all right, brother. I just want to say that you reach out to you. You'll be hearing from me more. We probably gonna start that thing we talk about probably next week or week after next. In March we're gonna start that. So just keep your mind and think we're gonna start it because that's something the Most High has put on my heart. So let's prepare ourselves, preach about.
oh yeah.
All right. And somebody asked me about djembe teaching class at Pesach. I don't know if that's something you willing to do.
Uh, yeah, I'm barely able to keep myself. I'm still trying to learn how to sing and play at the same time. But it is something that I'll pray on.
All right, that's no problem, man. We know how I go. But always, all praises and blessings be unto you, brother, man. Take your time. We'll talk, man.
Okay.
All right, shalom, shalom.